Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a time in every person's life when they feel tested, when the weight of challenges becomes so heavy that it feels as though they might break. It's in these moments when the world seems to be pushing against us that the very foundation of our strength is built. I want to talk to you about those moments, about the trials we face and how through them we can find the path to our greatest breakthroughs. And think back to a time when you felt overwhelmed by life. Maybe it was a health crisis that shook your world, a financial setback that seemed impossible to overcome, the devastating loss of someone you loved, or career failure that left you questioning your worth. We all have moments in life when the struggle feels insurmountable, when the weight of everything seems like it could break us. And in those moments, it's natural to feel lost, even desperate. But here's something important to understand. These tests, these struggles are not random. They aren't obstacles thrown into your life just to frustrate you or bring you pain. They are invitations to go deeper, to discover strength, resilience, and character you didn't even know you had. These tests are not here to destroy you. They are here to reveal something greater within you. In the middle of hardship, it's easy to ask, why me? Why now? It's the question we all wrestle with when we're pushed to our limits. And honestly, it's not a bad question. It's the human response to suffering. But what if, instead of seeing these challenges as punishments or unfair circumstances, we saw them as part of a process designed not to defeat us, but to grow us, to refine us, and ultimately elevate us? What if the discomfort you feel right now is the very thing that's preparing you for something far greater than you can imagine? What if the struggles you face today are the stepping stones to a breakthrough that will transform your life in ways you can't yet see? Take a moment and think about the people you admire the most. Whether it's someone in your personal life or a public figure, I can guarantee that these people didn't get to where they are without going through their own testing. They didn't just stumble upon success or happiness. They faced trials that seemed impossible to overcome, moments when giving up felt like the only option. But instead of being destroyed by their circumstances, they allowed those moments to shape them. They understood that each test, each setback was preparing them for something bigger. They may not have seen it in the moment, but they trusted that the struggle was not in vain. Now, you might be thinking that's easy for them to say. They've made it through. I'm stuck right now. And I get that. I truly do, because when you're in the middle of a storm, it's hard to see beyond the rain. But that's exactly why it's so important to remember this. The test you're facing today is not the end of your story. In fact, it's not even the most important part of your story. The most important part is what you do with this test. Do you let it define you, or do you allow it to refine you? There's a concept I want you to consider. When metal is being refined, it goes through intense heat, molten temperatures that seem unbearable. But it's in the fire that impurities are burned away, leaving behind something pure and strong. That's what these tests are doing to you. You're being refined. The pain, the frustration, the uncertainty, it's all part of the process that is shaping you into something stronger, something better. You may not feel like it in the moment, but the process is working. You are being prepared for the life, the opportunities, and the impact that's waiting for you. When you're in the midst of a test, it's easy to feel like the world is against you. But remember this, the universe or God or whatever you believe in doesn't test us to make us fail. The purpose of these tests is to give us the tools we need for the next phase of our journey. If you pass this test, you won't just be better equipped to handle what's next. You'll be more confident, more capable, more aware of your own strength. You'll understand that you are capable of handling more than you ever thought possible. So, next time you're facing a challenge, take a step back. Try to shift your perspective. Instead of focusing on the difficulty, ask yourself, what am I learning? How is this preparing me? What is the struggle trying to teach me? Because in every test, there is something to be learned. In every struggle, there is a hidden gift, a lesson, a skill, or a strength waiting to be discovered. And when you begin to see it that way, you'll realize that the pain, the discomfort, and the uncertainty are all part of a much larger picture that right now you might not fully understand. But if you trust the process, if you continue to push forward, you will look back one day and see that this test was the very thing that prepared you for your breakthrough. There's a story that many of us have heard about a man named Joseph. His life was not one of ease or comfort. It was a life marked by betrayal, hardship, and injustice. Joseph was his father's favorite, and his brothers, consumed by jealousy, sold him into slavery. Alone, far from home, he was thrust into a foreign land where everything he had once known seemed distant and irrelevant. But his story didn't end there. Despite the betrayal, despite being falsely accused and wrongfully imprisoned, Joseph never lost his faith. He never gave in to despair. He understood something that many of us miss. Transformation doesn't happen in moments of ease. It happens in the valleys, in the dark places when we feel like giving up. Joseph's breakthrough came not when he was living comfortably, but when he was at his lowest point. It wasn't when he had the privileges or the luxuries that he might have imagined, but in the midst of his struggle. We often imagine breakthroughs as these moments of sudden revelation or miraculous change where everything falls into place and success is within arm's reach. But what if I told you that breakthroughs are rarely born in the light? They often emerge from the darkness, from the pain, from the moments when we feel most tested. The road to success, to growth, is not a straight line. It's filled with turns, bumps, and detours, some of which may seem like dead ends. But those detours, those hardships are not there to stop us. They are there to shape us. Think about this for a moment. When Joseph was thrown into the pit by his brothers, when he was sold into slavery, when he was imprisoned for something he didn't do, it would have been easy for him to lose hope. After all, how many of us would have? How many of us in those moments of pain and rejection would have given up? How many of us would have allowed those setbacks to define who we were? But Joseph didn't let the circumstances control him. He didn't allow the lies and injustices to be the final chapter of his story. Instead, he kept going. He stayed true to his values, his beliefs, and his purpose. And what happened as a result? Joseph didn't just survive the test, he thrived. His character, his endurance, his ability to forgive and remain faithful in the face of hardship, all of this was honed during his time in the pit and in prison. He was being prepared for something greater, something beyond what he could have imagined. What looked like the end was actually a beginning. His patience, his wisdom, and his strength were being forged in the fire. The truth is, we all face moments in life that feel like setbacks, moments when it seems like the world is conspiring against us. But it is in these very moments that our transformation occurs. We cannot expect to become stronger, wiser, or more resilient without facing challenges. And we cannot expect growth to come from comfort. Growth comes when we are pushed beyond our limits, when we are forced to stretch, to adapt, to learn. That's when the real transformation takes place. Joseph's story teaches us that the trials we face, the pain we endure, the setbacks we encounter, they are not meaningless. They are part of a process. They are shaping us, molding us, preparing us for the breakthroughs that lie ahead. The things that seem like detours in our lives are, in fact, the very things that guide us to where we need to be. Each struggle builds upon the last. Each challenge strengthens us in ways we may not fully understand at the time. But when we emerge from the other side, we are changed. We are more than we were before. And this transformation is not something that happens in an instant. It's a process, a slow, deliberate process of becoming. We don't wake up one day and suddenly have everything figured out. We don't face one challenge and then rise to the top. But if we embrace the journey, if we stay faithful and committed, we begin to see the growth, the wisdom, the strength that comes from enduring, from persevering, from continuing to show up even when the odds are stacked against us. Joseph didn't become the second most powerful man in Egypt by avoiding the tough times. He became who he was because he faced them head on with unwavering faith and a resolve to not let the trials break him. He was tested, shaped, and transformed in the process, and so too can we be. The key is not to run from the hardships, but to lean into them, to trust that they are making us into who we are meant to be. When you're in the midst of a test, when everything around you seems to be falling apart, the one thing that can carry you through is your faith. It's easy to say that we have faith when everything is going well. But real faith isn't about believing that things will turn out the way we want them to. It's about trusting that there is a purpose even when we can't see it. It's about holding on even when the answers aren't clear and believing that somehow we will make it through to the other side. Take the story of David and Goliath, for example. Here was David, a young shepherd, not even a warrior, just a boy standing before a giant, a soldier that everyone, even the most seasoned warriors, feared. The entire army of Israel trembled in fear at the sight of Goliath, and yet David stood firm. He didn't see the giant as the problem. What did he see? He saw a challenge, but more than that, he saw a test that his faith could overcome. In that moment, David wasn't focused on the size of the giant. He was focused on the size of his faith. He declared, "The Lord who delivered me from the paw of the lion and the paw of the bear will deliver me from the hand of this Philistine." David's victory over Goliath wasn't due to his sling and stone. It wasn't the weapon that defeated the giant. It was his unwavering faith. It was the belief that the trials he had faced in the past had been preparing him for this very moment. And David didn't just show up with courage. He showed up knowing that he had already been equipped by God to face whatever came his way. Each past trial had given him the strength and wisdom he needed to confront the giant in front of him. This is the power of faith in the midst of trials. It's not about having all the answers. It's not about knowing how things will turn out. It's about believing that in the end, the struggles you face will equip you for something greater. Every test, every hardship, every moment of pain, whether small or overwhelming, is preparing you for a breakthrough that you might not see right now. But one day, when you face your own giants, whatever they may be, you'll realize that the faith you built through each challenge is what will carry you through. And think about your own life for a moment. What are the giants you face? Perhaps they're financial struggles, health problems, or personal relationships that seem to be crumbling. These giants can feel impossible to overcome, just like Goliath must have seemed to those who saw him towering over the battlefield. But what if, like David, you've already been prepared for this moment? What if the trials you faced in the past, the battles you fought and survived, were not just random acts of suffering, but the very things that have built the strength and resilience you need to face your current challenges? Every trial, every moment of hardship is equipping you. It might not feel like it in the moment, but every experience you have adds to the foundation of your faith. And as that foundation strengthens, so too does your ability to face whatever comes your way. The stronger your faith, the more you'll be able to see beyond the immediate circumstances and focus on the bigger picture, the bigger purpose. You might not know the purpose right now, and that's okay. The key is trusting that it's there, even when it's not immediately clear. It's easy to doubt when you're facing adversity. It's easy to wonder why things aren't going the way you planned. But faith isn't about seeing the full picture right away. It's about knowing that eventually everything you're going through is part of something bigger than yourself. When you have that kind of faith, it transforms the way you look at your challenges. It shifts your perspective. The obstacles you face stop being things that stop you. They become the very things that propel you forward. And when you get through it, when you look back on the trials you've endured, you'll see that your faith was the key that held it all together. It was your faith that gave you the strength to keep going. It was your faith that allowed you to rise up when everything else seemed to be pushing you down. And like David, you'll realize that you were prepared for this moment all along. The trials weren't just obstacles, they were the preparation for your breakthrough. When you trust in your faith, when you hold on to it even in the darkest times, you begin to unlock the strength and resilience that have always been inside of you. You begin to see that every trial is not something to fear, but something to embrace, because with faith, you know you will come out stronger on the other side. Resilience is one of the most powerful qualities a person can possess. It's the ability to keep moving forward when everything inside you tells you to stop, when the weight of the world seems too much to bear. It's not the absence of difficulty or pain, but the quiet strength that arises because of it. Resilience is the muscle we build through adversity. It's forged in moments of hardship, shaped through every trial, and ultimately becomes the very thing that enables us to keep going when we feel like giving up. Think about Thomas Edison. Most of us know the story of how he invented the light bulb, a moment of brilliance that changed the world. But what we often forget is the struggle, the countless failures, and the setbacks he faced along the way. Edison didn't just succeed overnight, he failed over 1,000 times before he finally found the solution. And in the face of all those failures, he didn't give up. He didn't see those failures as the end. He saw them as lessons. In his words, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That's resilience. It's the ability to face setback after setback, knowing that each failure brings you one step closer to success. It's not about avoiding difficulty, but about how you respond to it. And that's where true strength lies. We often think of resilience as something that comes naturally, as if some people are just born with it. But the truth is, resilience is built. It's developed in the moments when we're pushed beyond our limits, when we are tested in ways we never thought possible. It's in those moments of struggle that we realize our true potential. It's easy to stay strong when things are going smoothly, when the road is clear. But it's when the storm hits, when the obstacles appear, that our resilience is truly put to the test. Look at any great success story and you'll find this theme. Behind every breakthrough, there's a story of persistence. Behind every triumph, there's a person who chose to rise after being knocked down. It's not the ones who avoid failure who achieve greatness. It's the ones who keep going in the face of it. It's the ones who, despite feeling defeated, choose to stand up one more time. That's where resilience comes in. It's about doing the hard work when you don't see the reward. It's about enduring the pain, knowing that each step forward brings you closer to something greater than you can imagine. Resilience is not just about surviving tough times, it's about thriving because of them. It's about realizing that every hardship you face is an opportunity to grow stronger. When life knocks you down, resilience is the voice that says, get back up, keep going. You're not finished yet. It's the quiet strength that moves you forward when the world feels like it's holding you back. And it's in those moments when we dig deep and keep going despite the odds that we begin to see the true power of resilience. When you go through hard times, it feels like the pain is unending. It feels like you'll never come out on the other side. But I promise you, every challenge you face is preparing you for what's next. Every trial, every failure is part of the journey. And each step forward, no matter how small, is progress. Edison didn't just invent the light bulb. He invented resilience. And that's the lesson here. Resilience is what carries us through the darkest times, and it's what leads us to breakthroughs. When you push through, when you keep going despite the pain, you're not just surviving, you're growing, evolving, and becoming the person you were always meant to be. So next time you feel like giving up, next time you're faced with an obstacle that seems insurmountable, remember this: resilience is not something you're born with. It's something you build. And each time you face a challenge, you're strengthening that muscle. You're becoming unshakable. You're becoming unstoppable. Your breakthrough is just on the other side, and it's your resilience that will carry you through to the moment when you finally step into it. Keep going, because every setback is a setup for something greater. The moment of breakthrough is something we all long for, but it rarely looks the way we expect. We often imagine it as a sudden moment of clarity, a dramatic shift in our lives, a light bulb moment where everything changes. But the truth is, breakthroughs often come in subtle, unexpected ways. They don't necessarily arrive in one grand defining moment. Instead, they build upon each other through small victories, little by little over time. Take the story of a woman who for years struggled with anxiety and depression. Each day, she would wake up with the weight of uncertainty, not knowing how she was going to make it through. Some days were harder than others, and the dark clouds seemed to consume her. But every morning, she made a choice. She chose to get out of bed. She chose to fight, even when the fight felt impossible. And over time, something remarkable began to happen. The dark clouds that had loomed so heavy over her life began to lift little by little. Her breakthrough didn't happen overnight. It wasn't a single dramatic shift. It was the accumulation of countless small steps, each one a decision to keep going, to keep fighting, to not give up. And eventually the day came when she could look back and realize how far she had come, not because of one singular event, but because she had kept pushing, kept choosing to move forward day by day, no matter how hard it was. That's how breakthroughs often work. They don't just appear when we want them to. They aren't given to us in one grand moment of revelation. Instead, they are the result of endurance, persistence, and the quiet accumulation of effort. It's the small victories that over time build up to something much greater. It's easy to miss these small steps when we're caught up in the struggle, when the challenge feels overwhelming. But those small choices to keep going, to keep showing up, to keep fighting, those are the moments that lead us to breakthroughs. They may not be the moments we expect, but they are the ones that truly matter. The real breakthrough comes when you've endured long enough to understand the value of your struggle. It's when you've been through the fire, when you face your deepest fears, your greatest challenges, and you realize that it wasn't for nothing. You look back and you can see that the very trials that felt like they were breaking you were in fact shaping you. They were preparing you for something greater. The breakthrough comes when you have learned the lessons hidden in the trial. When you've learned resilience, patience, perseverance, and most importantly, faith. The breakthrough isn't just about the end result, it's about everything you become in the process. We often think of breakthroughs as moments of success, as when everything falls into place. But sometimes breakthroughs come in the form of quiet strength, in the form of change that is so gradual we don't even realize it's happening. It's the moment when you look back and see that you've changed, you've become stronger, more resilient, more capable than you ever thought possible. And that realization is the true breakthrough. The power of the breakthrough isn't just in the success, but in the person you become along the way. It's about how you learn to handle adversity, how you grow through the struggles, how you find the strength to continue when everything within you tells you to stop. You may not see it at first, but every struggle, every trial, every difficult moment is shaping you into the person you need to be to face the next challenge, to rise to the next level. The breakthrough is not always a single moment of clarity. It is a culmination of all the small steps, the choices to keep going, the lessons learned along the way. It is when you finally realize that the struggle, the pain, the discomfort were not for nothing. They were the very things that led you to the person you are becoming. And in that moment, you understand that the breakthrough wasn't just about what you achieved, but about what you've learned about yourself in the process. So keep moving forward, even when you don't see the end in sight, because the breakthrough is happening quietly and steadily with each step you take. I want to remind you today that the challenge you're facing right now, the struggle that seems so overwhelming, is not your end. It's actually your beginning. You may not see it yet, and the road ahead may look difficult, but the purpose behind it, the reason for this moment, is worth every ounce of effort, every tear, every moment of doubt. The breakthrough you're waiting for, the change you long for, doesn't come when everything is easy. It doesn't come when the path is clear, when the winds are at your back. Breakthroughs are born in the moments when we feel the weakest, when we're most vulnerable. And it is precisely in those moments that we are most open to transformation. Think about the moments in your life when you felt like giving up. Maybe you've been pushed to your limits, stretched in ways you didn't think you could handle. It feels like there's no way through, no way out. But in those moments when everything seems darkest, when the greatest potential for change lies, it is when we face our hardest trials that we are being shaped, refined, and prepared for what lies ahead. The truth is, the harder the test, the greater the breakthrough that awaits on the other side. If you're in the middle of a test right now, I want you to hear this: don't give up. And don't let the weight of the struggle convince you that it's the end. The breakthrough is coming, even if you can't see it yet. The process may be slow, and it may feel like you're taking 2 steps forward and 1 step back, but every step is a step towards something greater. Trust the process. Trust that this season, though painful, is necessary for the next phase of your life. Stay faithful, even when it's hard. Keep moving, even when you don't know where the path leads. And through it all, build your resilience. Understand that what you're walking through right now is not meant to destroy you. It's meant to refine you. Think about the way metal is refined. It goes through fire. It's heated to extreme temperatures, reshaped, and only after enduring this intense process does it become something stronger, something more valuable. It's not the fire that destroys the metal, but the fire that transforms it into something new. And that's what's happening in your life right now. The challenges, the difficulties, the times when you feel most uncertain, they are the fire that is shaping you. You might feel like you're being tested beyond what you can bear, but the truth is you're not being abandoned. You are being prepared. God doesn't bring you through trials to break you. He brings you through them to build you, to equip you for something greater than you could ever imagine. And here's the incredible part. When you come out of this season, you will not only have survived, you will have thrived. You will look back and see that the things you thought would destroy you were actually the things that made you stronger. You will understand that every struggle, every moment of doubt, every challenge you face was part of the process that shaped you into the person you are meant to become. You'll see that this test, this difficult season, was never meant to be your end. It was the beginning of a new chapter, a new phase in your journey. So, if you're feeling exhausted, if you're feeling like you can't take one more step, remember this: your breakthrough is coming. It's not far off. In fact, it might be closer than you think. It may not come in the way you expect, but it's coming. It's coming through the struggle, through the perseverance, through the moments when you choose to keep going despite how hard it is. When you trust that the process is leading you somewhere greater, when you remain faithful, when you build your resilience with each step, you'll find that you are more prepared for the future than you ever imagined. So keep moving forward. The fire you're walking through is not meant to burn you. It's meant to refine you. And when you emerge from this season, you will realize that you are stronger, wiser, and more capable than you were before. You will have been equipped, not just to survive, but to thrive. Keep going. Your breakthrough is coming.